Like, I have no clue. And going into the game, like, that was the one thing. Like, I was a straight A math student, like endurance, all that. But trivia, I was always like, you never know what they're going to ask you.
How are you guys feeling this morning? How was it watching your elimination last night?
For me, it was rough because, as I went in, I was saying, like, I really wanted to prove myself, like I was always super, super close and felt really good about all the challenges coming to that. But I still didn't have the money to go to the final. So for me, it was kind of sad because I wanted to obviously make it through and kill, the elimination. But, me and Kai joke about it. We're like, Madonna got us, because it was just that one freaking question that we just couldn't get, but I'm still super proud of how, the whole season went for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, I don't know, it was just so much fun. Everything about the game, everything about the show, and getting to meet all these new people, and create just new friendships, new extended, reality challenge family. And as far as to echo what Kyra said about like Madonna getting us, it's like, as someone who's super competitive, I'd much rather it be like Madonna got us than like we lost in a race or a puzzle or lifting something or whatever. Like, than somebody beating us, like, in terms of there's no way we could willpower our way out of the Madonna thing. So and trivia is just so uncommon. So I think, I don't know, but the experience was just so it was a newer dream, but it'd become like such a dream because I was like, wait, I love competing. This is a game. So it was just so great.
Yeah. And it wasn't like you can switch out the numbers that easily, right? Like, you had to like climb back up. How many options were there? And was it close? Because obviously TV, you can't always tell. How far up behind, I guess, were you?
We were pretty.
We were ahead for like a hot minute.
We probably did.
No, yeah, we switched the ball out just for that one question because we were 100% sure about the rest. But once again, Madonna, I don't know, you see these celebrities, they've been married a billion times. So I was like, there's no way she's normal. Like, we're not talking 1, 2, 3, like, let's just keep on going up. So we just kept on switching it and switching it and switching it. And we really did have height on our side, and the ball was heavy. But once I got, my kind of like skill of how I was going to get it up, we were good. So it was just like that last time of us, but we did it a lot. We were switching the ball.
We did a lot.
We did a lot of switching.
Because we also had to switch earlier because we had an answer that we had to move over because sometimes we would just do placeholders because you weren't allowed to open the next question. So we're like, okay, well, let's pull out the ball. Let's do this placeholder. And so we had to switch some of those. So like, as far as, movement, we had a pretty solid lead. We just were going in the wrong direction on that guess.
That's why trivia is just the worst. It's just, so annoying. I 100% with Kyland as a partner wanted something super physical. And if that was like the only thing that we had to do, I think we would have killed it. But
oh my gosh,
it's just those trivia questions. You never know what they're going to ask you. So, yeah.
Yeah. I know, like we saw Dom especially talk about how he wanted you guys out before the finale. Were you given a heads up before the arena? Were you surprised, or talk to me about actually them saying your name?
I mean, we weren't told, but it was funny. We were talking about how literally while we were still at the cars, the Derby, after they won, I was like, Kyra, we're going to go in. Just so you know, Dom has already said that before. Back when me and Angela put him in, it was like that he was going to take a shot back. And it just made sense because, as a male competitor, like, it would make more sense that would be the shot you'd want to take. And then also he had a super tight relationship with Enzo. So that was Angela's partner. And so it was, after that, there was some dog and pony shows that were happening in conversations. But like, when I met with him, they didn't really show that full meeting. Cause Dom, he's like almost mafioso a little bit in the sense of like the meeting that we did. And it was fun. It was honestly fun and funny, like in the time. And Dom's also someone who like, outside of the game, that like in the game took it personally, outside of the game didn't take it personally, and like so it was, as far as there was no elements of surprise there for us. It was just like pretty well known.
In the game itself, I think he definitely took it personal because I talked to him a couple times too, and he had no beef with me, but I think him and Kayla were just like, nah, he put me in, like, we're gonna put him in. So I pretty much knew I was kind of being shuffled into that whole thing, and I was like, damn. But once again, I wanted to go in and win some money, so I was like, all right, it's okay.
So how did you guys feel going up against Alyssa and Leo? You must have thought, okay, yeah, if it's physical, we should be good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I felt good. And then once I saw it was, height, we are way taller, How tall are you, Kyland? I'm like 5'10", so.
Yeah, I'm 6'1".
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I just have to hop on his back and do the damn thing. But then they threw in trivia once, TJ said what it was about. And I was like, damn, like I have no clue. And going into the game, like that was the one thing. Like I was a straight A math student, like endurance, all that. But trivia, I was always like, you never know what they're going to ask you. So I was nervous because I also know Alyssa and Leo, like Leo won his season, right? So I was just like,
he won, but he got really far for 3 different seasons and won a lot of competitions.
Okay, so yeah, he was strong. Yeah, so I was a little nervous. Yeah.
Leo was smart figuring stuff out.
Yeah. Kyland, I know, they're keeping a focus of you, Angela and Tyson. How tight were you guys actually? And when did that relationship sort of, I guess, really flourish? Like this is like a really short show for how many people are on it, so we don't get to see everything. But how tight were you guys?
We were pretty tight. It was kind of cool because week 1, like I started building, I was a fan of Angela. That was the first time I met Angela, was when we got to the airport. I saw her and I was like, what? Season 20 was like my first live season that I watched. So like that, I didn't know her. Prior to that, I'd only ever talked to Tyler. So getting to know her, we both got 4th in our season. So like there was a bond there, but you don't really know. And just over time, Angela's personality, like, is just something that I just vibe with really well. And we just understand each other in so many ways. And then Tyson is somebody who in the house was like, even not watching Survivor, I knew of him. So like he had this legendary status, which is threatening. And we thought he was somebody that like, I want to take out. But then we just got along so well. In the first week, I remember saying like, all right, if this man's playing me, then I am his fiddle because he has me won over completely. And you never know how deep that trust goes. But then something would happen game-wise. I'd be like, wow, wait, this trust might be real for him too. And then something else would happen. And then now like it's been cool to like hear him go on podcasts and talk about how like literally Angela was like his number 1 female and I was number 1 like male. So I was like, wow, that relationship, I was right. I was trusting my gut instinct that was a real relationship, and it was. So that bond, like, it was just really tight and something that was really cool.
Yeah, you got to go back and watch Survivor, Kyland.
I am now. I'm actually on his first season.
Good. Kyra, I know your ex went home fairly early. Do you think that helped your game, hurt your game? Any thoughts about him going home earlier?
For me, it was bittersweet just because with these shows, sometimes when someone's going to be on, from word of mouth, but I had zero clue that he was going to be there. So I really was just so caught off guard. So for a minute, I definitely was like, this is going to hurt me because I'm going to be emotional. I'm not going to like be able to think straight. I'm going to be super distracted. But at the same time, in that first, daily challenge, they were like, you can pick your partner. And I just was like, oh my God, we're about to go off of the side of this crazy tall building. Like, I don't really know any of the other guys here. Let me pick someone that maybe it didn't work out, but I trust him and he trusts me. So like I said, it was bittersweet because I wasn't distracted once he left. It felt almost like a relief of not, having your ex living with you. Like, who does that, But at the same time, I knew if he stayed, he was a very strong competitor. Like, Cashel is a beast when it comes to anything, physical. So I knew he would do well and also have my back. So I think it would have worked out for me, honestly, if he stayed. But at the same time, for my mental, I was like, okay, it's for the best,
Yeah. The devil is sometimes better than the devil you don't. So,
exactly.
Kyland, obviously I'm going to ask you about that early decision to put X in. You and Alyssa got a little bit of backlash. Talk me through kind of that decision. I know people are talking about numbers. Where do you kind of fall on that? Do you regret your decision? Do you still stand by it? Talk me through that.
Yeah, and that's a decision that's easy to stand by because it's like, being in the game, we know that numbers are great. So you have to count the numbers of people that you actually are working with. And that just wasn't someone that I was working with. So, I think that if things were different, the dynamics were different in the house, like the personal relationship was good. So on a personal level, it actually sucked because I was like, oh man, this is somebody I like personally and respect. But on the game side, it was like, okay, wait, no one trusts him. The bonds, unfortunately, he hasn't built the bonds yet in this game with even with not just with Survivor people, but Big Brother people and some Love Island people. So it was just like, even his best friend in the house is against him. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, this isn't a good partner for me moving forward in this game. And then it's funny, you mentioned like the backlash of people. They're like, oh, this is, I get it, but it's too early. It's just like, it's only early if you forget that this is like chess, not checkers. Like, that we have this algorithm at play. So that means that his next upcoming partners, which people forget because they don't consider that, are Kyra, Desi, Angela, like all people that I want to stay in the game. So if we're going to take the shot, it has to be at the time when it would actually be beneficial for it to land. So if I waited at any other time to do it, then I would have been eliminating someone who I want to keep in the game as a potential partner, because often the final we know is ran with a partner of the opposite sex, and then because of the algorithm we have all these dailies. So it's like, I don't want to get rid of any of these women that I actually want to work with in this game. So it just made too much sense.
Yeah, I definitely think that aspect complicated it, the final, that part of it. Who were you guys hoping to see in the final? Men, female, like women, who were you hoping to see?
For me, any Love Island girl, because I think people just underestimated us and honestly saw us as a joke when we first came in, because like we're coming from this dating show and everyone else is from these competition shows, and there's legends like Tyson and people like that. So already just to have, Justine and Cashel still there, and for the amount of time that I think Love Island stayed, I feel like we killed it. So I would love to see a Love Island girl, win this damn thing. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah, for me, it's just that alliance that, we formed really tightly. So, Tyson and Angela are still in the game. I want to see them in the final, and I think that they'd be pretty tough to beat in most scenarios.
Yeah, no, I know you guys know who wins, but at the time, who were you like, we still need to get out of the game? Who did you not want to go against if you were in the final?
For me, just because they're so strong, Angela, Desi, even Justine, she's proven herself. So like, I want them there because I was super close with Justine and Angela, honestly. But at the same time, it's like, you don't want the strongest people there because they're going to rule. So those are people that, once again, though, I would be so happy to see them there. But if I was in the final, I would have probably been like,
Yeah. Kylan, were you thinking to have
I was like,
want Tyson in the final?
I think you and others know me in the sense of like, I think differently in these games, but also that's because like I have to play differently because I'm a different type of competitor, just due to the training that I do for these games. And so, you'll never see Jordan and CT and Darrell talking about like, let me get out the strongest competitors and like out of the final, because that strategy permeated throughout the house just puts your name on the top of a very short list. And so that wasn't the strategy I could run. As far as like my main competition, like in a final in the game, it's like you look at people like Tyson, like Danny, and then that's kind of the end of that list of the people who are still in the house. So, but both people that like, I feel like, I'm like, hey, let's see what happens, sort of deal. We all have our various strengths and backgrounds, and so I don't know. There wasn't anybody, and I think there's also that side for me. It's like, to be the best, you gotta beat the best, and like you watch the Last Dance with Michael Jordan and Kobe and Magic Johnson. They all say that like they want to go head to head against each other like that, and that was just me in this scenario. It just seemed like too much fun not to.
Are you guys interested in doing the challenge again? Will we see you again? Or are you interested in doing your original shows again as well?
Dating shows for me, I don't know at this point. Like, I've been on a couple. It hasn't worked out yet. I'm single these days, so I don't know about the dating side, but as far as the challenge, I think it was so out of my comfort zone, but I grew so much there, and even watching it back, I'm like, damn, Kyra, so I feel like I 100% would do it again, because I want to win a challenge and I want to make it further, next time. So for me, yes.
Yeah. The challenge, easy, yes. Tomorrow, next week, back-to-back games, whatever. Big Brother, I would definitely, it's still, my favorite sort of game just because of all the complexity to it, but it would have to be the right situation. So like, I want to do a Paul 19, one person versus 15, but like if it is a different scenario than that, at least 4 or more returners, then or all returners, like then then absolutely.